Hi guys, and welcome back to A Dinosaur in the Library. I'm Dawn, and thank you for coming to listen to me ramble about books. If you're new here, thanks for showing up, and if you've been here before, thanks for returning. And today I'm going to be doing a couple of book reviews in one. The books are sort of similar, so I figured I'd just put them all in one video instead of having two separate ones and keep talking about how they're similar, which would make no sense. So I know I've been absent for about a week and I have no excuse. I haven't been busy, but I think the end of semester exhaustion and ennui just kind of crashed down on me, and I've been doing a lot of resting. I haven't gotten as much reading done as I've wanted to, but I have read several things. I'm going to be doing several reviews over the next day or so, or posting several reviews over the next few days, and I've just been kind of taking it easy and not getting a lot of stuff done that I probably need to get done, but I think I really needed the rest after this semester, being sick 2 or 3 times, and then statistics almost killed me. So I did survive with both my mind and my GPA intact, so that is a plus for this semester. So what I'm going to be reviewing today are two autobiographies / memoirs of two people who are probably pretty familiar to people on YouTube. One because a lot of people have read, and the other one because he's a YouTuber. So the first one is the YouTuber, and that is the book is I Hate My Selfie, a collection of essays by Shane Dawson. And this was from Keywords Press, and I gave this 4 stars on Goodreads. My wife is positively obsessed with Shane Dawson. I think he's a great guy. He's funny. I think he's funny, and we watched the horror movie that he's in, Smiley, and that was a good horror movie. If you like horror movies, go watch it. It's kind of cheeseball, but it's a good horror movie. It had a twist that I did not really see coming, so I appreciate that in a movie, and books, but certainly in a movie. Anyway, this is not a horror movie review. This is a book review. So this is a collection of essays about his life from childhood up till now, and there's a lot of things I really appreciated about this book. For one, it seems very open and honest. There's a lot of things he says in here about himself and about his family and about just things that happen in his life that I really appreciate. It seemed like he was being very honest about it, and I appreciate that in a memoir, because you can read memoirs and autobiographies sometimes and you kind of get the feeling that they're really glossing over things, and that's their right, obviously, to gloss over things in their life, but then sometimes you get the feeling that they're kind of being technically dishonest about some things, and you wonder, what's the point of writing a memoir or an autobiography if you're not going to be honest about the things that you're mentioning. And I didn't get that sense with this, and I really did appreciate that. But anyway, it's a whole set of essays that starts when he starts talking about when he was a child, and he grew up quite poor, and he was an overweight child. 2 things that I can very, very much connect with, because I grew up very poor, and I also grew up very chunky. So, and I still am, and I own that, and I'm fine with it. But he goes through and talks a lot about things that happened when he was a child, and what it was like being poor and a very chubby child and things like this. And he also goes into when he got up into his late teens and started losing the weight in not the most healthy manner. He ends up in the emergency room a couple of times because of the amount of Splenda that he's ingesting. That gives you any clue. And it was just, I read it in one sitting. When my wife bought it, she bought it because she really likes Shane Dawson. She had just started watching him and kind of got obsessed with him, so she wanted to read his book, but and then she's like, you have to read this, because she finished it, she really enjoyed it, and it was funny and everything. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll probably like it, because I think his channel's cool, but I'm not as obsessed with him as she is. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll probably like it. But it was really enjoyable, and I'm really glad I did pick it up. But I read it in one evening, so it's a really quick read if you're interested in it. Shouldn't take you very long, but it's just essays. And one thing I really liked is that each section, let me find the one I really like in here. Each section is about a different topic. Obviously, it's just chapters, but each one starts with a drawing. And if you can see this one at the section, My Strange Addictions, he talks about food somewhat in here, obviously, but these are not drawn by him or a hired illustrator. These are fan drawings. And on the back of each one, there is a little bit about the artist. This one was drawn by Leonie Lerner, who lives in Port Washington, New York. So, and some of them are younger artists, high school age, I think. But I thought that was a really cool addition, because, you know, his fame is built completely on people watching him on YouTube, these fans. So and I felt that that was a really cool way to include them in this story of not only his life and his childhood, but also his rise on YouTube and how he became a YouTube star. So I thought that was really cool. In general, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. And, you know, if you like memoirs, if you like autobiographies, nonfiction, things like that, this will not be a bad read for you. So you should definitely pick it up. It's by Keywords Press. I think it came out this year. Maybe it came out last year. Quick check here, because this will drive me crazy. Copyright 2015, so yeah. This one came out this year, but it's in paperback. It came out in paperback, and I know for a fact that Barnes & Noble carries it because I saw it on an end cap today. So if you guys are interested in this sort of thing, go and pick this one up. And then the second book I'm going to review is related in a couple of ways, and that is How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran. And a lot of people, I think I've seen this on several people's booktube channels. I think Library at the Edge of the World mentioned this book. Somebody did, and if it was not you, Library at the Edge of the World, I'm very sorry. But I don't think you'll care. But it's all about her life and growing up and becoming a woman, growing up as a woman in the UK. And I mean, it's also humor, and that's one of the reasons that it ties in with Shane Dawson's book, is that they're both humorous. They look at their lives, which had their ups and downs and had some times that were not that great, but they look at them through a pretty humorous lens and talk about them in a very open and honest way, I think. And this book is a little different because each chapter is about a different topic, just like Shane Dawson's. However, each one is also tied into how that expands to all women. So you've got a chapter on called I Don't Know What to Call My Breasts, and then after she talks about growing up with them and, you know, getting breasts and bras and things like this, she starts talking about essentially breasts as a feminist issue. There's a chapter on her period, chapter on being fat, there's a chapter on having children, and then there's a chapter on how why not to have children as well, which I really appreciated. One thing I did have an issue with her tone in the chapter about being fat. Not the entire chapter, just a few things, and I can't remember, you know, precisely what it was. It was just something about her tone, and it bothered me. But the child-free chapter I really, really appreciated, because I think that a lot of people don't consider being child-free a feminist issue, and I think it absolutely is, because while we should always have the option to choose to have children and to regulate when we have children through birth control and abortion if need be, I think there's also, it needs to be admitted that, you know, we have a right not to have children. And in this society, especially in, I know in American culture and Western culture in general, I think there's this push for pretty much all women. It's like, oh, well, you're eventually going to have children. And that's not necessarily true. You know, my wife and I, we don't want children. We don't want to adopt. We don't want to have our own children, you know, unless they come from the Humane Society and are 4-legged and furry or 2-legged and furry, you know. I have nothing against disabled animals. Don't take that the wrong way. I'd be happy with a 3-legged dog. But, you know, if it doesn't come from the Humane Society, I don't really want it. Just because, you know, I just don't want kids. I like my friends' kids. They're cool. But I don't want to have children. And she goes through the whole chapter about that. It's just wonderful. And I really, really, really appreciated having a well-spoken feminist woman talking about that topic in such a humorous and interesting and open way. And she has children, so that was also something I appreciated. Is this is not a woman who's like, oh, I'm, you know, she's not somebody that people can look at and say, oh, well, she doesn't have children, of course she's defending that. No, she has children. She has 2 kids, and she talks 2 chapters before the child-free chapter about, you know, she loves her kids and things like this. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone should have children. And let's just be honest, not everybody has that skill, you know. It's definitely a skill, and it's not inborn, and, you know, you either learn it or you don't, and some people don't ever learn it. But anyway, that was possibly my favorite part of this book. I think I gave this 4 stars, maybe 5, but I definitely gave it 4. And I think that was pretty much it. But, you know, she grew up in a fairly low-income house as well, so that's also another... She was chubby and poor as a child, and so these are 2 books that are kind of close to my heart in some ways, is because, you know, this is similar to my childhood. Obviously, I didn't grow up to be a famous YouTuber. I'm on YouTube, but I'm not famous. But, you know, I didn't grow up to be a famous YouTuber. I didn't grow up to be a famous journalist and write fabulous feminist tomes. But, you know, I think that that's why I was drawn to both of them once I really started reading them. And I think that that's one reason you guys should pick them up. So, this is from Harper Perennial, and it's been out for a little while. Like I said, I've seen it on several channels. 2011. So yeah, this has been out for 3 or 4 years, and I picked this up at Goodwill, so you could probably find a used copy pretty easy on this one. But yeah, so, and plus I really liked this cover. I don't know why, I just really did, and I love her outfit on the back. So, and she looks happy. I like that. She's smiling, and not that you have to smile, but I just think it's a really pretty picture. But I do appreciate that on the cover she's not really smiling, which is another issue we could talk about another time. And this is the other book, I Hate My Selfie, put out by Keywords Press, and it came out this year, but like I say, it's in paperback, and I know for a fact that Barnes & Noble carries it because it's out on an end cap, and I got this one, we got this one at Books A Million, so it's possible you could find a used copy of this, but you're probably going to have to buy it new if your library doesn't have it. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed these reviews, and I hope you go out and check those books out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!